Good morning, fellow pipers. This is Swamp Piper. I've had a few people ask me to post a quick how to do video on stoving tobacco. Now, I'm not a expert at this, and I've kind of learned from other places how to do it, but I thought I would put together just a really quick little tutorial. So, what you're going to need is obviously the tobacco. We're doing luxury bullseye flake today. You're going to need a piece of tin foil. You may or may not need some distilled or spring water, and I'll show you why in a minute. And then you will need a mason jar. I normally use a medium-sized one like this, unless you're stoving like a really, really large amount of tobacco. So essentially what you do is, first off, you're going to go to your oven. You're going to put it on bake, and you're going to put it on 190 degrees Fahrenheit, and you will get that up and running. So now what you're going to do, most tobacco already has moisture in it, but the whole point of the stoving process is to heat up the tobacco and caramelize the sugars in the tobacco, and then the moisture that excretes out of the tobacco will sit there for 2 weeks in the jar and actually mature it. So if it's a tobacco that you think already has a decent amount of moisture in it, if it's one that you think is maybe on the dry side, depending on the cut or depending on the type, then you can actually just take your finger, dip it in the water, and just kind of, I normally just kind of rub it a little bit on the tobacco, or you could take it and kind of spritz the tobacco and just make sure that all of it is just slightly wet. You don't want it soaking. You don't want it. The reason I put the paper towels is because if you're starting to see color coming through on the other side, you're putting too much water on there. So essentially what you're going to do is you're then going to take that tobacco and you're going to put it into your mason jar. Okay. Now, some people use tobacco tins covered by foil. You can get away with the mason jar with the foil. The reason being is because when you put the tin foil on the top of the mason jar, you're going to take this lid out of here, and you're going to put the top on top of here and twist it to seal it. The tin foil is going to keep the moisture in the mason jar, but it's going to not allow the pressure to build up to the point that it would shatter the jar in the oven. Okay, so once you've done this, you're going to take your mason jar and you're going to put it in your oven, middle of the oven at 190 degrees. Okay, you're going to set your timer for 2 hours. And there you go. Now, once this has gone for 2 hours, you're going to take the jar out, wear gloves. You're going to set the jar down and you're going to let it sit for 2 hours. So we've got 2 hours in the oven, 2 hours of sitting here sealed. After the 2 hours, you're going to quickly unscrew the top, take the foil off, replace the jar top with the actual metal lid, and seal it. What this is going to do is this is going to keep all of the moisture that is coming out of the tobacco because of the heat. It's now going to stay in this mason jar. Okay? You're going to leave this in a cool, dark place for 2 weeks. After that, when you open it up, the stoving process will be done. The sugars would have caramelized, and the moisture from the tobacco itself would have added or would have matured the tobacco. So I'll do another video when I open up the can that I've already done in another 2 weeks, and I'll go ahead and show you guys what the result looks like. But you guys have a wonderful afternoon. This is Swamp Piper signing off.